Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you're joining us for this month's Live with Red Dot Diva. And I have a special guest, and it's also quite a special occasion. I'm going to have a special virtual book party with two people that I know. Just in case you're not familiar with me, I'm going to introduce myself. I'll put myself on screen. Hello. I'm Red Dot Diva. I'm a lifestyle and pop culture blogger based in Singapore. I've been doing this for about 10 years or so. And I started life with Red Dot Diva during the pandemic. As most people do some creative things during the pandemic, so did I. It was around June 2020, and another friend was actually promoting her digital book as well. And we were thinking, like, okay, maybe we could do something fun. And that's how it began. It began with a virtual book launch as well with a good friend of mine. And I also then felt that, as well as scrolling through social media all the time, I felt that there were a lot of news and a lot of tweets or posts about creators that were based elsewhere. And even they were based in Asia, it was usually Japanese or Korean creators. And I felt that the talented people here in Southeast Asia were so underrepresented. So I was feeling a bit kind of angsty. And then I thought that, okay, this would be great way to start a monthly live stream to focus a spotlight on Southeast Asian creators. And this is how this began. So today, for the February episode, we are going to have a virtual book launch by my two friends. Hello, Seth and Joie. Congratulations. Hello. Congratulations for the virtual book launch of Snow Owl. Ta-da!
Yeah.
Yay!
How are you guys today?
We're good.
Good. And it's interesting that you chose this month as well, because actually this month is our anniversary month. So we are married 2 years.
That too.
Yep.
Celebration.
Thank you.
And for those who are watching who are not familiar with Seth and Joie, maybe you could introduce yourself to them so that they can, get to know you better through this virtual book launch.
Sure.
Sure.
Oh, I get to start. My name's Seth Adams. As far as the Southeast Asia goes, I lived here for a year in 2009. So I've been here a while, and then I came back and I've lived here since 2013. So about 10 years here in Singapore. And I met my wife Joie here in 2013, and I've been drawing. I've seen. Should I call you Tina or Red Dot Diva, or just the Diva? I've met the Diva. I think in like one of the 2014 Comic Cons where I had a booth, and I've just been drawing and got more serious about drawing with more time spent at home during the pandemic. And it was a good time to work on a story that my wife had written many years ago. But it seemed like the perfect opportunity to make a comic book. So that's what we did.
Yeah. And I'm Joie. I've been living in Singapore my whole life. So I've been a writer in many ways. So I actually started writing when I was 8. I was obsessed with Enid Blyton books. So back then there were all these like boarding school books like Mallory Towers, Sinclair's. I would write my own fan fiction.
You mentioned Mallory Towers, right? Recently, like about 3 weeks ago or something like this, I was scrolling through some TV series and I was like, there is a Mallory Towers TV series? Why did I not know about this? And it's at its second season.
Oh wow! I should check it out. I know. So yes, I actually started writing fan fiction of myself when I was 8. attending Mallory Towers and St. Clair's, like all these like boarding school, because I was so into that. And then of course, like I just continued to write fan fiction. I was like really into Lord of the Rings, and I actually have, you know, none of the world has ever seen it because I will never publish it. But I have a 60-page self-insert OC, like Lord of the Rings fan fiction, and I wrote like when I was drunk once, so I was so into it. So anyway, after I graduated from university, I became a writer in a different sense. I became a journalist. So I was like writing, doing lifestyle, pop culture, and beauty and fashion for a couple of fashion magazines. And I actually was writing for almost 10 years. And then I made a career change to fitness because I decided I was done with writing, and then I went into fitness. But then I still love to write, so I write my own stuff now. And then then one night I had a dream. It was a crazy dream. It was so crazy that the moment I woke up, I had to write it down, and I wrote the whole dream down. And then I was like, oh, this would be a good movie. So I wrote it as a movie script, and I sent it to like Seth, because he used me an actor. I was like, how is it? And then he was like, eh. And then
still
an actor, yes. I showed it to him, and then he was like, oh yeah, that's interesting. And then it was in the back burner for so many years until like recently. He's like, hey, I think we should turn that. Remember that story you wrote like a long time ago? We should turn it into a graphic novel. And that's how Snow Owl came to be. It was born out. Literally, I was sleeping and I dreamt of it. And I woke up and I wrote it. And that's how it became Snow Owl today.
Wow. I know, right? It's like the pandemic kind of pulls a lot of different things from your past and your present, you know, and people do a lot of creative stuff during this time. That was, I think, the positive side of the pandemic.
Yes.
It turned out really interesting ideas and stuff, you know, from just their own inner. I don't know, maybe people like consider a lot of things. It was quiet because you had to stay at home. You're not like interacting with your friends all the time to cloud out your thoughts. So I guess that's how a lot of things came about. Anyway, if you're watching, you know, say hello. There are some people who are already here.
What?
He was a guest in one of my past live streams as well. He's also a comic book creator, so do check him out. And of course, we have our favorite toy lady, Jess. Hello,
Jess.
Hi, Jess.
Oh my.
I mean,
I love Jess.
Yeah, I know, right? I love her.
Have you talked to Jess yet? Did you have her on your show yet?
We do chat on Facebook and interact with each other from time to time.
Yes.
I could talk about Jess for the rest of the time, but yeah, Jess has some stuff coming up, so you should get her.
Yeah,
on
I
the
know,
show.
right? She's really busy, and her toy designer thing is like going boom.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of know that. We know her for so long, right? You knew that she's gonna, rise.
Yes.
No doubt.
So proud of you, Jess.
Just need the spotlight. Yeah. You know what? When you mentioning Seth, when we met at STGCC some time back, and I'm gonna embarrass ourselves by showing this picture.
Oh no, what's gonna happen? Wow,
Look at that beard.
Look at the beard, but also look at the muscles.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Yes.
This was in let me see. It's 2015.
2015.
Yeah, I remember
that. A booth with, I think, Kelly Bender, right?
Yeah, there was so much pressure because you take these bicep pictures with everyone, and I was like, I gotta really work out before Tina comes over here. She's gonna,
all right.
I don't want to let her down.
So Joyce has already given us an introduction on how Snow Owl came about. But I was like more interested in how do you manage to translate that script into your comic book panel. You know, and were there stuff that you actually edited out because it didn't quite fit with the flow in a comic book form?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the nice things is she had written it long enough ago that I was like, I know I can like sort of edit and tweak this stuff and not have her be like, well, you changed this thing.
Yeah, and it was enough like detachment from like the
Yeah.
baby. That yeah, go ahead, rearrange it.
Yeah, so I think mainly everything I was doing was just sort of surprising her, but because she did write it as a short for a short film that takes place in America, and I was like, we're never gonna shoot this with very very sort of American characters. But the main thing, like as I was adapting it at first, it was getting longer and longer because I needed to sort of pace the pages and what happens in the story, and then I added some like a letter that's happening that he's writing to his fiance, just because I think one of the things I love in comic books is how at the same time you can have two different timelines happening with the dialogue. So with the panels where you have this letter that's being written as a through line, and because especially with this first issue, there's so much atmosphere, I definitely wanted to kind of insert and add more Chekhov's guns, as it were, so that people would really be set up for the next issue. So yeah, I mean, it was fun to adapt. It's a lot of word. I had 2 dual word processors up, and so I'd like read hers and then create shot lists and then layouts and kind of move things around and tweak a little bit of dialogue, because she was just like, you can change whatever you want with the dialogue. It was just her really kind of a rough draft. She just dumped the story out, and so it was nice. There's just a lot of material to it that I could throw in there and
edit and
and there was stuff that we knew that wouldn't work. She had a specific way that the well, like spoilers, but there's a creature in the book, and in her mind it moved in a very specific way which could be captured on film, but I knew I needed to do an equally creepy thing but have the still images. Yeah, you can show it. It's fine.
Yeah, sure. This is the cover. You guys, you haven't got it yet, it's at Gumroad, and I'm sure that it's already the link is at Seth's social media, so you can check that out.
Yep. Or just
interested to know about interested to know about the character designs though. Were they based on anybody that you knew?
Yeah, so that was super fun because it got to sort of tap into my like acting, directing side. So I found so there's Wyatt, who plays the lead character, and I knew I wanted to shoot a bunch of reference, and so Wyatt was someone I worked with as a performer at Universal Studios, and was kind enough for cab fare to come over and food, and then I kind of put a casting call out through some of my drama people because I knew the mother was going to be
interesting, older,
right? And Caucasian, which in Southeast Asia, like
it's very hard to find a model that's
right.
Yep.
So and it's, especially during the pandemic, because a lot of the Caucasian people I know have left.
They left.
Yep. So we put out a kind of casting call with some of my friends and my director friend Camille that I'd done a play with, and he introduced us to Laura, and that's been actually a really good friendship. But so we got an actress, and then she showed, and then we scheduled a day for shoot, set up lights, and she showed up, and she had wigs and glasses, and
she was
outfits.
She brought a whole wardrobe and like trying it out. She was so professional. We were like, wow,
so great.
It made our work so much easier too.
Yeah. So we had I had obviously laid out the book ahead of time, so I had like a shot list, just as if I was shooting, kind of like we were shooting the short film. And then just wanted to get just enough reference that to keep some consistency with the characters, and then and it was also like a very good excuse to like work with actors, which is something I really like to do. And some of my art heroes, there's always there's always some debate amongst artists about how much to use reference. And some of
Yeah,
my
I know, right?
some of my art heroes, that I follow on Instagram, like Jason Sean Alexander and Aaron Campbell and all these guys, I would see they would just post behind the scenes footage of them, creating reference for
Yep.
their sequentials. And I was like, that looks like so much fun. And so I wanted to make it a part of the kind of the artistic process of creating the story. And it just seemed like a perfect opportunity to do that. And that was probably one of the most fulfilling days making the book was working with those two, and then they had really, no idea, explaining the characters and talking about it, but keeping it like nice and loose. So yeah, for me, it was just an integral part of the creative process on it. It was just kind of getting their input and bossing them around a little bit and feeding them crackers and having my grip with all the lights.
I was holding the lights and I running around. I was a catering manager. I was the wardrobe manager. Like, do you need a steamer? Do you need a hairbrush?
Yeah.
And
good.
to do that virtually, right? I mean, that's quite a challenge.
Oh no, we actually did have them come over.
Oh, you're that here? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. We set it up. So this was in pretty close to October. So like lockdown was over, everything was over.
So they could come over and then
Yeah, we even officially had our house as a trace together. So when people could come over and they'd like have the trace together.
The QR code for them to like key in.
Yep. So we tried to use all the COVID protocols that I knew that my friends in the film and entertainment industry were using, and just do it with that. But
I didn't know that. Extend it.
Yeah. I mean, in particular in October, that was definitely like a COVID zero time in Singapore.
Right.
So we were feeling pretty safe about it at that time.
And I think at that time, a lot of people have been vaccinated already, like 80+%.
Yeah.
So that was the point.
Yeah.
Where, I also felt a little bit safer going out.
Yeah. And that was. I still kind of wasn't going out, so I was like, "Come to me." But yeah, it was really fun. So yeah, it was based on them, and then obviously with some of the visual aesthetics. But then getting to like rewrite it, there was pieces of people I think that we know that showed up in the characters, and there's definitely thematic things. That in my own life with like father-son dynamics and your family being your past and your future, and so there was just a lot of perfect things at play that we finally got to do, adapt, put on the page.
All right, before I ask Joey my question, some other people have joined us as well. Funny Wani, hi guys, hello.
Hi, Wani.
And Jess was saying that Kat is here too. Hello, Kat.
Oh, hi, Kat.
All right. So my
I don't know about Kat. I love Jess, but Kat's he's got an Instagram about coffee or something.
Tea.
Oh, it's tea.
Yes.
That's even worse. Who drinks tea? And the Ted Lasso. I'm like, no, it's bad. I love
you. Joey, you were saying that it has been a nightmare, right? Like you were having this recurring nightmare about this story.
It wasn't a nightmare. It was just one very intense dream, and it was back then. I was like, so I'm a huge like manga fan, and I feel horrible for saying this, but I've completely forgotten the name of the artist that I was inspired by. But I remember he had this series called Juan no Tane, and it's basically very short, like. Some of them are only like 2 pages long or 3 pages, and they are just like little nightmarish vignettes that are very creepy. So I was very inspired by that, and when I had this dream, I actually initially had like when I woke up, I'm like, this would be a perfect Juan no Tane kind of like one shot.
I didn't know this.
No, that really I was very inspired by it was like that. It was I really cannot remember his name. And also the Uzumaki like Tomie what's his name? I forgot his name. Sorry.
Hearing about this. I have no
Okay.
idea.
He's a very famous like manga artist. And he does all of this like horror one shots and
Creepy,
horror
yeah,
stories.
horror, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's Juan Otane. Who's
Type it in the comments. Someone out there.
Someone-
Someone's like, what? No, you don't know.
Yeah,
Some
I
anime,
can, like,
I'm not a big anime fan, so
yeah,
I can't help with that.
but because I'm like super into like kind of like horror, eerie, creepy like mangas and stuff. So that was actually how I was inspired to write out that dream. I mean that dream wasn't inspired by stuff that I was reading. It just like showed up and I was like, oh my god, this would be such a good like creepy manga thing. But I wrote it out and then I was like saying I was thinking that it would work as a creepy short film. So that's why I wrote it as a script that it could actually be adapted, whether as a manga, a comic, a graphic novel, or a movie. So yeah, it was based on that dream. But also another thing is I do have a little bit of a phobia of barn owls. Like regular owls are okay. So like if you watch Harry Potter and then you see those cute little owls, those are cute. Barn owls creep me out. So barn owls are the kind of owls that has the white, like the whole face. It looks like a mask. Yeah. That one creeps me out. So that was like kind of like, oh yeah, that's creepy. And then when I dreamt of it, it was super creepy. So it was like I could, like when you wake up from a nightmare, like, oh my god, yeah. So I had that feeling, and it was so intense, it was so vivid that like the moment I woke up, I had to write it down. So I wrote it down, and I was like, wow, this could actually be a movie or a manga or a graphic novel. So that's how it happened. I have no idea what I was drinking or eating that night, but might have been something crazy. You had that crazy, vivid, like 3x structure dream.
Did you actually go and find out what's the significance of a dream concerning a barn owl? Did you find out?
Phobias? No, just phobias. I heard that like for some cultures like owls are actually a good luck thing.
Right.
Yeah,
just
yeah. But so far, like my feng shui hasn't really like anywhere.
I seem to have found out like during this past year or so, like a lot of people have been churning out horror stories. What's the opinion? It's like, is it because we are living in this rather dystopian world, and this horror kind of like based even TV series are getting a resurgence? I mean, there was a time where horrors kind of like you rarely get it to the B grade section, but now they're elevated to the top.
Yes.
Yes.
I want them to go all the way to the top.
What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, horror has become an art, like almost an art film.
Yeah,
art form. Yeah,
it's like I think one of my favorite genres, because I was a huge scaredy cat kid. Like I saw the box cover for Friday the 13th, and I just knew Nightmare on Elm Street, and I just knew the concept. And it gave me nightmares for like 3 years. It was just like, oh, that was it. That was all I needed to see. So by the time I was finally allowed to watch horror movies, like I inoculated myself, and I worked in a video store, and I watched every single horror movie that was made, probably that was available up until 1993 or whatever, when I was a kid working in a store. So it became like a genre that I really appreciate, and I do think that it's someday someone will win an Academy Award for an acting performance in a horror film, because it's a genre that's not taken seriously, but it takes on just some of the most important themes. And to me, it would make sense that horror movies get popular now because of escapism, and then I also just think artistically, like there's a lot of license for people to explore things under the guise of horror. So I think there's a lot of artists that are attracted to it, and then a lot it does turn out that a lot of people that create horror stuff later were also scaredy cat kids that were very like deeply impacted by and were scared by stuff, and then just sort of owned it when they grew up, and it became like one of their things that they like to do.
Yeah, I was a scaredy cat kid. You know what scared me? And then we had the Singapore True Ghost Stories by Russell Lee.
Yeah.
those stories used to creep me out so much. And then all the local, like the Pontianak, the Pocong, like all this like local like scary ghosts, like I would like so freak out. The one that scared me the most is the story about like this, like it's like a flying head, like a head that would just fly around. You have the entrails. That was what scared me the most. Like just a head flying, flying around the long hair and entrails. Yeah. So that actually scared me. But actually I started to like embrace not just horror, but horror writing when I start the first thing I actually got introduced to Reddit, the Reddit forums, was actually No Sleep. So No Sleep is like a fiction horror like subreddit where people would just like write in like just random entries, and that caught me. And then that's how I started like writing like little short like horror stories and like supernatural and ghost stuff. And I actually like sort of pulled a lot of experience from my maternal grandfather, my Gong Gong. He has passed on like 10 years ago, but he had a wealth of all these crazy supernatural stories, really interesting, really like from like through like his years in Singapore. He lived through like the World War II, the occupation, and he had all these crazy experiences. I don't know whether they actually happened or
and then he just terrorizes his grandchildren.
Yeah, and then he'll like terrorize us with all these stories. But they're so interesting that like wow, like and it's also like how you mentioned that how like it's kind of, horror seems to be having like a huge resurgence right now. It's becoming like an art form. I think also because with like all the craziness and stuff that's happening in the current world now, like I feel like most people are getting more comfortable to dip into that darker side of themselves and sort of like express it out in sort of in a safe way, you know, like in horror. And I like how like modern horror, especially horror storytelling, especially through like films and movies now and TV shows, it's not so much horror for the sake of scaring people. It's using horror as a vehicle to tell human stories. Like whether it's like grief or forgiveness or even like violence and trauma and abuse, like using horror to tell these stories is like it's a way of like not so much a spoonful of sugar to get the medicine go down, but it's like a chaser when you like drink something, then you like chase it down and then it both goes down at the same time, and it makes you think more. And the fact that you are scared, the adrenaline actually connects you more to like the themes of like the story. So that's what I think is interesting about horror right now.
Unless it's the movie *Malignant*, which was
oh my goodness, that's a work of
the best picture of the year.
We love *Malignant*. We love it so much.
We watched it twice.
We watched it twice.
It's very divisive.
Yeah,
it's very divisive.
Yeah,
very divisive.
I do agree about it being a catharsis, kind of like, because the real horror is worse than, you know, what you actually like, you're trying to experience it in a different way. So watching a so-called fictionalized horror tries to makes your, like, it frames your emotions and thoughts in a, like, it's more comfortable, as you're saying, like a chaser, yes.
And you can turn it off.
You can turn it off.
Leave the theater. Yeah.
So that's why I find it's quite interesting. And for the last year or so as well, somehow the guests that I've been having online, either they were also doing comics with horror themes, or they were having podcasts with horror themes, you know, or they were like, they love drawing horror stuff, ghouls and all that. And Joie, you were mentioning all these stories that your grandfather were telling you, and we were saying, I think, have you actually I'm curious, did you actually write down what your grandfather told you? Because there was a discussion.
I actually did want to like do a compilation of my grandfather's experiences, and like so actually my mom's actually watching this, and she said that my Kong stories are real life experiences. They're real life experiences, and I really wanted to write them down. And one of my greatest regrets is that I did not get to interview him like when he was still around. But I still remember the stories, because my mom would tell them, my uncles would tell them, like I still remember all the stories. Maybe one day I might we might do like
I would love that, because I would love that, because we were discussing on how you know, for Asian, like Southeast Asian type of horror stories, most of them are actually oral knowledge on oral stories.
It's oral history.
And we feel that I mean, those around my age or, you know, in the 30s. And we were saying that when we were younger, we always have campfires or we hang out with our friends, some,
Yes,
some dark
stories.
place, you know, and then we'll tell each other ghost stories. So it seems like in the younger generation, this has been lost. And we kind of feel like, you know, oh, it's kind of sad, right? Because they don't tell ghost stories to each other anymore, like what we used to, like, oh, you know, my grandfather last time or my
I don't
mother,
know.
you know.
I'm gonna have to beg to differ because my experience working with a lot of younger people is everyone is still terrified of ghosts
Yeah,
and
I know.
believes in haunting. I don't know
I'm not
how much
they're not terrified, but it's not like there is this like a
the
campfire.
stories, the
Yeah, yeah,
oral
like a
specific
Yeah,
storytelling
ones, yeah.
where
yeah,
we used to have, you know. I think that's a bit lost because of the digital age, and so therefore,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would really like to have all these folk tales, you know, digitalized, get it on the stories, published, and all that because we don't want it to get lost. It's so interesting,
Yeah.
especially for Southeast Asian ghoulies. They are hardly featured anywhere in horror stories. Anyway, that was like a whole entire thing. I know I have a lot of friends who love horror stories, and I mean, Snow Owl is also some kind of a horror nightmare,
Yeah.
you know, concerning a barn owl, and that's why I was asking this entire question about horrors, horror
Yes.
genre. Okay, this I mean I'm not sure whether you'd be comfortable answering this question, but it was something
Okay.
that I was curious about personally
Sure.
as well. You know, normally, when you meet people and or your family, and they'll say like, "There's an adage: you should never work with your family or spouse." And then this is a collaboration between the two of you.
Yes,
What are
yes,
your
yes.
responses to that as a married couple working on something creative?
Oh, that, it's like speaking for myself, like well, before I said that it was like she just kind of was like, oh, I have enough separation from it. Do whatever you want. But um, I was really excited because it's self-published and because it's like, I'm basically being paid to do it through my wife's support. Then like it's been great. Like I would I definitely I'm sure there's people that I wouldn't have wanted to work with that keeping those things separate that I might have dated in the past, but it's super easy with her, and it's actually like I think been part of what has made it so fun.
Mm,
Is it's ours,
yeah.
it's ours, and it's even like it's even something like when we had talked about, I think it was like 2016 or something. I was thinking about adapting it then, but then everything got busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to my father, who was still alive at the time, and he was just like, "Wow, he's like, that's so amazing that you get to do this artistic project with your wife. It's incredible." And I was like, "Yeah," and I felt like that the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
The whole time. That's my she might trample all over that and be like, it's horrible.
No, I thought it was great. It was super fun. It was like a fun thing that we got to do, like like over the pandemic, and like I always used to joke, like, because we got married right before the shutdown.
Yeah, I
And
know.
like, so like, oh, what was your honeymoon?
Yeah.
Circuit breaker.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like an extended honeymoon. It was like super fun. Like when we did the shoot for the references, it was just like when we felt so pumped up. It was so stimulating.
Family project.
It was like a family project. Yeah, it felt like a family band. We were like, oh yes, like doing something together. Yeah, and also like you said, I also have like a certain like amount of detachment, because like when I first wrote it, I had a very specific idea of like, I want this frame in it because I was very inspired by all these Japanese like horror mangas, and okay, I want this very specific like frame because that's how I got inspiration to write that. But then now I'm like, whatever, just make it. Yeah, go ahead, just do it. So yeah, so it's been fun. Like he works on it. I come in with food and like, yeah, are you hydrating yourself? And
drink more water.
more water. Yeah, like, do you need a glass of wine? Okay. So yeah, it's been a really fun like project, like working together.
Nice.
I wish
I like
I wish
to
there
hear
was more.
that.
I wish there was more drama that I could.
Yeah, there's no
No,
drama.
no, no. I mean,
Really,
this is what I love
not
to
at
hear.
all.
I love to hear
Not
the
at
positive
all.
stuff.
Like when we do this together, it's always like an adventure, you know. Like
Yeah.
even as
Right,
hiccups, we're
yeah,
like,
you're
oh, it's
right.
just like an adventure. It's like it's like we are there's conflict, and then we'll get over it. We are heroes in this adventure together. So
I like
yeah.
to hear that. Fantastic. Kanjing was asking, how can we get the comic? Maybe Seth, you
It's
want to reiterate again?
Yeah, it's available digitally through Gumroad, and the link is on the front page of www.sethadams.com. So if you just go there, click that, and then it's on all my socials and everything else.
Yeah.
And then we are hopefully, so it's the first part. It's gonna be a two-parter. So this is the first floppy. It's like 23 pages, and then the next one I think will be about 26 pages. And then we'll start to think about
Printing.
publishing a hard copy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether that's just for Southeast Asia, like con edition or something, but eventually we'll get.
I mean,
something
I like
that.
digital copies, but I still want this
Yeah.
thing,
I
you know.
know, me too. It was a good time for that because it's like between paper shortages and shipping,
Yeah.
and then obviously
well,
being from the
You know what?
US.
Kanjing, as I was flashing his name just now with his question, he does self-publishing, so maybe you two could connect, and he has
Ooh.
his tips as well on what was his experience like self-publishing, like what he learned and what he felt was a no-no. So you two could connect to each other. I guess you might be able to learn something for each other. Oh, he found it.
Yay!
And Jess says, key to good partnership, hydration.
Hydration. I mean, yes, you and Claire are a great team together as well.
If you guys have any questions, pop in the comments. We'll pick it up as we go along. All right, Joey, you're saying that you were doing digital marketing for quite some time as well. As part of your career.
Actually, well, not a very long, not as long as journalism, but I actually started digital marketing in my previous job when I was doing I was a full-time instructor for a local bar studio. So bar as in bar fitness and not bar as in drinking bar. So I need to make sure that I'm not that much of an alcoholic. So it's BARRE bar. So this is called We Bar. So I was actually the brand communications manager. So I handled like all the communications and social media and also digital marketing for a bit. And then I took that knowledge and currently employed in a bigger company. I'm not sure, don't want to say it right now because I don't really want anyone to.
What are the rules?
What are the rules? Because I'm not here as a representative of that company.
Yeah.
It's a very big company, and I actually do digital and app marketing for that. So yeah, and that's how I got like all these like ideas on like how we can like self-push and market like this book through websites, through social media, through even like this live stream as well, just to get the word out.
Yeah, right. So what are your top 3 tips maybe for marketing in terms of digital marketing for a creative effort like this, a comic book or a web comic?
Well, it actually depends on the audience as well. So I know a lot of people are like really into like just like watching videos. So I feel like Reels and TikTok is a great way to actually like push out like like show off like there's I find like videos of like what do you call that, time lapse of like art being done is very, very popular. It does really well, and it's also like very, very fun to see another person's like we call it like process. Yeah. So TikTok and that Instagram as well. I like IG stories because that's how you get like brand love. Because like I would say an IG page, it's more of like building the brand image. So when you look at a person's feed, that's the person's image. So that's how you see like what they do, and it can be very curated or can be very, very spontaneous. But most like if you really want to establish yourself as a brand, as a person, as a name, then that's the first thing that you need to show. Establish your identity with your feed. Whereas when you have your IG stories or your like Reels and stuff, that's when you establish your personality. That's how you build the brand love around your name, your brand, because that's how you get to interact with like the people that you know, show the day to day. You can do little quizzes, you can do little polls, and it really shows a more human side to who you are, what you do. And that's another thing. And also if you're very, very comfortable in front of the computer or in front of the camera, actually YouTube is a great way to, because people just like watching other people talk, to look at faces talking, and one thing that actually helps a lot is actually subtitles. I feel like subtitles really help, because not everyone has their sound on. So there will be a much higher chance of me actually pausing and actually looking at the video if there's subtitles on, because I don't always listen. I'm not the kind of people who like to play the sound very loudly on public transport. Really side-eyeing some people. You can hear exactly what they are watching, and can hear someone like talking, some like VTuber like yeah. Like, no, I'm not. But I like reading like subtitles, so I kind of like know what's going on even without listening.
It's a really good tip, because like, there have been so many things where I'm like, no, I'm not going to click on it because I don't want the sound. But subtitles, I'll usually watch it. Good one.
Yeah.
I don't do any of those things. So
you should. I'm always like sending him links like, hey, you should get this, because like some those top down like lighting.
Yeah, I know, right? I think I think that was one of the things I was expecting more from Seth's feed as well. Like,
it's more marketing stuff.
His
more progress stuff.
Yeah. We want to see how your magic is made.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a Patreon with like 4 wonderful Patreon people, and so I do twice a month like these like progress newsletters and everything. And then, kind of part of my deal with Patreon is like, I'm showing everything to you guys first and talking about it, and then I'll do it later on social media, and then I forget to do it on social media. I think also because it's staggered, like I'm kind of on to the whatever it is I'm working on now.
Yeah.
So I definitely think I need a better system, if anyone even cares to see work in progress stuff, but a better system of like okay, like I share it on Patreon, and then like, just even though it's now 2 weeks ago, put it on social media. Yeah. But usually with work in progress, I'm like, oh, this thing doesn't suck, I'm gonna put it online right now, and like and then notice everything that's wrong with it, which I wouldn't have seen until I posted it, which is my current system. And it's
all artists have that problem.
I know. That's it. If as like all artists know that if they really want to, if they've been working on something all day, the best way to find out like what's wrong with it is to post it. Because then you'll see it in the post and be like, oh my God.
Once you let go, like give birth to it, and then you start to see all the faults.
Yes. Or just the faults that if you didn't post and looked at it the next day, you could fix. But instead you just got excited and put it into the world and was like, oh man, that guy's thumb is on the wrong side. That's not
I have 6 fingers.
Yeah. It looked good that day. I'll hopefully get better at some of that marketing stuff.
Yeah.
But I like it.
I think a lot of people get a lot of views when they actually show their live drawing in progress. Yeah. And it couldn't, it needn't be a full thing. It could be snippets as well. And then I think people love that somehow. They get a lot.
I definitely like it from other artists. I just I'm just bored with myself, so I don't think it's that interesting. But I should see what happens.
Joie will be the digital marketing manager for that.
I'll put the light and the camera over.
As a creator artist, Seth, what do you think are the top 3 mistakes that people make?
Overthinking it and not doing it. I mean, I think it's weird because you hear it all the time, but just like the whole just do it mentality is very, and I think it's a mistake to just not go. And let's see, wow, that's a good question. Mistakes, so not, I guess it would be not doing it.
Just do it.
Just do it. And then golly, mistakes.
I
Anything
think
that
like just
maybe
being
learn?
flexible and forgiving of yourself,
Hmm.
because that's what you do. He is so harsh and hard on himself that like sometimes I look at something and he's always like, oh my god, this is horrible. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's great. Like
Yeah, it's a mistake. You gotta you do
Yeah.
have to give yourself a break.
Yeah.
And then also I think kind of the reverse of the just do it is also as you start to do it more, it's a mistake to not build in self-care for yourself.
Okay.
And I definitely see that, especially now that I've been drawing all day every day, that there's so many, have a time that you're going to stop when you're, if you've been working all day, just be like, I'm done at 6. And even if I'm excited about what I'm doing, because the next day I'm going to be very excited, because I can pick up, like, I know exactly where to pick up the next day. Yeah, just not, one of the mistakes I see is a lot of people just not taking care of themselves and getting enough balance. And that was something for artists as actors too. Like, I had a lot of friends that do that. And then I see that with a lot of my two-dimensional art friends that, just don't take the time to take care of themselves, which is hard, especially when you get in the zone.
I think mental health is also one of those things that, is being discussed a lot more during the pandemic. And I think creative people suffer a bit more on that because they tend to work alone.
Yeah.
I tend to draw alone, and writers tend to write alone. Whereas if you're a normal, like, day to 9 to 5, you tend to have a team, or you're a factory and you have workmates, things like this. Yeah, but
yes.
people, they need somebody to remind them to drink more water and to take a break.
Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
As Jess said.
What about you, Joy, as a journalist or editing something? What do you think are the top 3 mistakes that people make?
Well, definitely like self-censoring, because I find that like my best work is when I decided that I am not going to censor myself. I'm just going to write, and even if like I feel like a turn of phrase looks stupid, I can always go back and fix it, instead of like having like analysis paralysis and like, oh no, I need to write the perfect like flow and prose and stuff. And so just like self-censorship is one of the like number one mistakes, because not everything, I mean, like, I feel like a lot of like, especially writers, they want to, everything they want to write, they want it to be their masterpiece. But it's okay. It's okay to like to not write a masterpiece, because a masterpiece doesn't just show up on its first draft. You can, and sometimes you don't even know if this is going to work. So just get it out into the world, look at it, and like, I want to work on this more, then you can craft it into your masterpiece. Or if you're like, it's out and I'm satisfied with that, and I just want the idea out of my, not have it like take up free rent in my head, then you can just like shove it aside. So yeah, it's like just not having that kind of pressure on yourself to really make sure that everything you write is perfect, because I feel like you are allowed to be a work in progress and a masterpiece at the same time. So
nice.
Right?
That's so nice, right? Wow. I'll remember that.
And then the third mistake, I can't think of the third one right now. So yeah, this is good.
I get you. Third one.
Really
third one lost you.
Good advice. I think I am getting a few good pointers as well from you two today. We're gonna actually, we're running about 10 minutes to our end of the live stream. So if anybody wants to have a question or a comment, please post it, and I'll bring it up on screen. But at the moment, my last questions also would be: have you received feedback on part 1 of Snow Owl so far? And what have the responses been?
The best feedback, and the kind of feedback you want, despite the fact that she is my beloved aunt, my Aunt Julie, who's just one of my favorite human beings on the planet. But her email was it was full of story questions.
Oh,
Oh my God, is it a dream? What's in the shed? What's of this? What's of that? And that, like
Did
that.
Did it die?
Yeah. And that was exactly that. It was, even though she's quite biased, because we could do anything and she'd be supportive and act like it's great. But I was really glad that rather than, and I love the good job responses, that for sure, but hers was very detailed and about the story, and that was my favorite response so far, because it was
like she was invested in the story.
Yeah,
And
right.
you spend like months creating a story, and then to have and then the other one is there's a character, the cookie, the bird Cookie.
I know.
Cookie became a hit too. So that was always fun. I was like, oh,
No spoilers about Cookie, but does he have a fan club now?
Cookie is a fan club.
Trying to start one. Hashtag Cookie fan club.
Yeah. Hashtag save Cookie.
Yeah. The bird. And I grew up with like cocktails, turkey.
When I came to that frame, it was like, ooh.
Yeah. It's rough. It's rough. It's her fault.
Hey.
That's not my change. That's her stuff.
So get the comic part 1 to see, who and what happened.
Who's Cookie?
Who is Cookie and what happened to Cookie?
Where's Cookie?
Yeah.
Where's Cookie? Hashtag save Cookie. Joie, would ever any of your romance fiction see the light of day?
Well, maybe not under my name, because it's just like, it's very, but I'm working on publishing one very soon through Amazon Kindle Direct. So so like I said, like I was like really into like British fiction. So another big thing that I really love was, of course, Jane Austen, because which girl doesn't love Jane Austen? And I was like really into the Regency. I was really into like this year, like Mr. Darcy, and then you drink tea, and then like your life is so easy back then if you were born in the right like society.
In color.
and right color as well, But so I love writing historical romance. So I've been working on a series. It's actually part of it's a 7-book series. Wow. So actually during the pandemic, I finished actually 2 of it and working on the 3rd one. And then of course when we all had to go back to work, it became in the back burner. So it's like it's all completed. It's just sitting on my drive, and I am working to publish one real soon.
Wow!
So, but it won't be under my name. So, but if you look on Amazon on Kindle, and then you see like random like historical romance, and it's very like sort of like out of this world kind of plot, then you might kind of like figure out, oh, that's
we'll tell you.
Yeah,
we'll tell you which one. But figure it out.
after live stream can tell.
It's very steamy, which is why I'm embarrassed to like my name too, because relatives might read it.
Just the steamy parts.
Yeah, just the steamy parts.
We have David who joined us, and he says, "Wish I could be there, but at work. Congrats on the launch, you two."
Why are you working on the weekend? Take the time off.
High five.
That's right. That's right, Michelle. Yay.
Okay, so what's coming up for the next for the two of you, other than part 2, or you could tell a bit about part 2 to tease the people. I look forward to it.
So part 2.
You mean a new character?
Yeah. So part 2. There's a new character, as well as we're going to start to go into the backstory of the father. And then this issue was more set up and maybe a little bit more talking heads than I would like, but it was kind of setting the mood and the tone, and it gets
and also throwing out all the questions, and then part 2 is when we answer the questions.
Yes. But of course, it being horror, there will still be a few unanswered questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah. And then I've been working on a series of traditional art that I'll be doing an art drop next week. And that I can't announce.
It's still under NDA right
Yeah,
now.
it's still under NDA, like who it's through, but I will definitely be very excitedly talking about that on the social medias.
Nice. So you guys have to check out
Excited
his
about.
social media, yeah. For
Yeah.
all the
They're amazing. The work is amazing. I have the
Thanks.
first preview of it.
I'm just gonna flash Seth's follow.
Oh yeah.
Please follow. Then you get to see what we're talking about. It's
Yeah,
so good.
what's his art drop and all the secret things going.
No
And
process
when
videos.
part two is coming out as well. So exciting. All right, so hang on for a while. We'll get you back on screen, and I'm just gonna tell the people what to expect for next month's Live with Diva. So we'll get you back on screen in a while, and I'll just give my outro. Hi guys, thanks for joining us for this virtual book launch. If you have any other questions, you can just post on either the Facebook or YouTube. I think we'll get back to you, and we could just answer you right there after the live stream ends. And after the live stream ends, it's still available for you to watch or pass the link around in my Facebook, Twitter, as well as YouTube channel. And you could just rewatch it again or pass it on to your friends and things like this. So anyway, March. For March, I have my guest. I won't want to announce her yet. We will announce in early March. We are trying to pin down a interesting title for everyone to join in and discuss and chat about. But she's a Malaysian freelance artist, so look out for that. But before the live Vivedo Diva session in March, it usually happens at the end of the month. On the 6th March, 6th March, Sunday, 3 p.m. Please do join me and my geek friends who are all DC comic book fans, because we are going for a movie review and recap special on The Batman. Okay, now the Batman movie is going to premiere this Thursday on 3rd of March. And I already got my IMAX tickets. I'm like, all ready to go, Betty. There is also a pop-up happening at Shaw House, ground level. I've seen pictures and it looks really cool. There's a bat signal and a life-size statue and a giveaway as well. I posted the some of the promo stuff, the links to that microsite on my Facebook page as well as Twitter. If you haven't registered for the Riddler pack yet, please do so to secure your time slots. I think there's some goodies for you and some contests that you can do, and there's photo opportunities. All this happening at Shaw House ground level. But if you're a Batman fan and you're a DC comic books fan, and I know local people have this, there are so many podcasts that are US based or UK based, but we want our own space for us to geek out. So if you want that, join me and my friends Eddie, John, and Jed, who's a movie reviewer. Some of you already know him because he's a well-known movie reviewer here. On 6 March, Sunday, 3 p.m., there'll be a live stream. Okay, so I'm gonna bring back Seth and Joey again, and we're gonna thank everyone for joining us. Yeah, Batman, right? Are you excited about it? Like, are you a Batman fan?
Yeah, huge. I mean, the when that Batman dropped in '89, it was life changing for a young boy. And then that same year with the Frank Miller Batman and the Batman Year One, and it's just in my DNA now. So,
cool,
but this one I was kind of like, and now I'm.
Yeah. Same thing. When I was hyping up Matt Reeves, I was going like, yeah, because I was not a big fan of Robert Pattinson. but it was like
Oh, I love him.
small trailers, and there's this excitement and that feel of an actual Batman movie.
Yeah.
I'm getting
Same.
quite buzzed about it.
Same,
All right,
same.
thanks everyone, and thanks Seth and Joey for this live stream. All the best
Thank
for the part 2
you.
and your future endeavors. I know we'll get to see each other soon, hopefully, when all this.
Yes. Open
SGC,
the
let's
cons.
go.
Open the cons.
Yeah, open the
Yeah,
cons
right.
again. Miss cons.
I miss everyone because I'm like restricting myself to meeting only a few people at a time
Same.
due to all these things. So yeah, so hopefully we'll see each other again, and we'll connect with everyone else on social media as well. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you,
Thanks
guys.
for watching.
Bye.